Hi, I'm Sam, and
I'm Max.
and this is Movies Actually, where we give a fair review to the movies that we've so mischievously meddled with in Maybe Movies. And yes, that was a mouthful, so I'm not going to do that again.
Who doesn't love a bit of alliteration?
Anyway, for our first episode, we're going to be talking about The Lost Boys.
Yes.
1987, Richard Donner produced, Joel Schumacher directed movie about a bunch of teenaged vampires and those who encounter them. A real milestone movie for me.
Same.
I was actually late to the boat. I remember reading about it in Fangoria magazine and seeing all the photos of the effects, but I didn't know who Joel Schumacher was or anything like that, so I didn't know to get excited about him in particular. And back then, 50% of the movies that showed up in Fango never even saw light of day over in England. So it was always a waiting game to see if it would show up or not once you'd read about it in the magazine. I kind of forgot about it until I was around a family party and my cousin put on the soundtrack and I was like, what the hell's this? And she looked at me in a funny way and, it's The Lost Boys. Because she knew what I was like. I love horror movies. How did you not know this? Apparently I missed the boat. So I then ran out I think the day after, I ran out and rented it, and it's been a love affair ever since, really.
I'm trying to remember, it's so long ago. I mean, I think I was the same as you. I was a bit late to the boat. I must admit, at that time, I never really paid much attention. This is a terrible thing to say now as an actor. I didn't really pay much attention to directors or things like that.
I did with directors, but only if it was horror movies.
Okay. No, I was just more concerned with who was in front of the camera as opposed to who was behind it. I think I saw it a couple of years later.
Okay.
And it was about that time. Yeah, that would be right. Because that would be about when I was about 15, my brother was 18. And that was the age when Mum and Dad would go, yeah, you're okay now. We can leave you two on your own.
Okay, right.
And they'd go and take sort of mini breaks and stuff like that. And I think it was actually, they were off over in France on holiday for a week and a half or something. 2 weeks maybe. And it was over the summer. So, all right, let's just bundle down the video shop, grab a load of films.
Yeah.
And order pizza.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, and this was one of the films that we ordered, and we both just sat there and went...
So it was kind of a random find for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I think, as I said earlier, when I did get hold of the soundtrack, most played tape that summer.
Oh, that soundtrack still holds up so well today. Even though, all of the songs are very much of their time, they haven't aged. They're kind of timeless ones of their time.
You can't help but hearing them. Again, it's just, I'm sure... No matter what age you are, you've got something that you remember that was quintessential to when you were first kind of discovering movies.
Yeah.
That whenever you hear it, even though it's years later, you just, I know where I was.
Yeah.
All those associations. I don't remember because I don't think I had a tape player, or my tape player didn't work very well, so I used to go and sneak into my brother's room when he was at work and listen to it on his.
For those of you, where have you been? But no, that's not right, because of course very many young people may have never had the chance to see it. Is the tale of Sam and Michael Emerson and their mother, who've just moved to a town called Santa Carla in California after their mother's somewhat unpleasant divorce.
Yes.
And get entangled with the local supernatural business.
Unexpectedly, yes. It doesn't really give you any kind of idea of sort of time frame, but it's almost like we're here and we're going to walk straight into this straight away. It seems to happen in a matter of days. I mean, I know they never really say.
Yeah, I mean, I get the impression that some time passed, but not too much.
Yeah.
Maybe a few days, But yeah, pretty much straight away. It seems like their first night out on the boardwalk. Greased up sax man.
Yes.
And of course Star, and then meeting the Frog Brothers. It all goes bang, 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 bang. It happens. It's a brisk pace.
But it is a very well constructed movie, and can't really recommend it enough. It takes its time in places, and there's lovely little details that, I mean, I think I was saying earlier, the thing about giving the money to the homeless kids and things like that.
Oh yeah.
I'd probably skipped right over it maybe the first 10 times that I saw it, and then because I'd already absorbed everything else, then you can sort of pay attention to those little bits that you normally miss, and you kind of go,
thorough characterization.
Yes.
You get to know the characters very quickly. I mean, a lot of it's in the first few minutes, just simple moments like that, or tiny bits of dialogue that really get you into the mindset of the characters that you're going on this little journey with.
So, did you know? I never found out. Is there any reason why Rich Donner didn't direct it himself?
I have to admit, that's not something I know a great deal about. I knew about it primarily from Fangoria, and they were mostly concerned with the physical effects and stuff like that. So,
right.
That's very much where my interest kind of began and ended, really. It's such a cultural icon of that particular time in the 80s. People are a little over the top with their dress and their mannerisms and their haircuts and everything like that. But that was kind of normal for the time. It's a little time capsule, but again, it doesn't age as back as some other artifacts of the 80s.
No, it doesn't. It is, because I can't remember, it was around this time, I'm trying to think if there was anything prior to this that kind of kicked off I suppose Fright Night must have done. It's the 80s, the 80s does vampires, let's put it that way.
Fright Night was the first one that brought the vampire into the modern world properly. I know there had been previous attempts with things like Dracula 1972 AD and stuff like that.
Salem's Lot in 78, wasn't it?
But those were classic vampires with the classic vampire tropes, that aristocrat, the cloak or cape-wearing creature, whereas Jerry Dandridge was a creature adapted to modern times, but he was still that ancient creature. The Lost Boys took it a step further and made them icons of the culture of the time,
Yeah, made them, youth icons. Yeah.
Yeah. That brought something new into the game. It was the first one where you saw that they were modern. They were now vampires. They weren't hundreds of years old. Maybe decades. You never really are sure, but definitely not hundreds of years old.
Yeah, I always got the impression that possibly David was around when he's recounting that anecdote about their cave that it fell into the ocean because of the earthquake. I always wonder about is that first-hand knowledge for him?
I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I think in an early version of the script, I'm led to understand that it was quite literally Peter Pan.
Oh, okay.
The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
It was literally the idea of the Lost Boys being vampires, and the idea. I think in an early version of the script, David was just Peter Pan, which would have made him a good century old.
Yes.
Or thereabouts, anyway. But yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so is that something that is that rewrites that they take that out?
I'm not 100% sure, although I think something to do with possibly the estate getting involved, or Jay and Barry.
Yes, they will.
And it might have caused some difficulties, but I'm not 100% sure. I haven't read that much about the background. I'm sorry, folks, we've kind of digressed a little bit. Yes. What we've got is an artifact of its time that actually stands up really well. As a film, great characterization. A lot of the effects are done in camera, physical prosthetics, things like that. So there's very little to pick apart in terms of technical stuff. There's one tiny reversed shot that bugs me a little bit. But apart from that, the movie is pretty technically perfect. And it still tells a tale that's relevant now. Give or take the modern trappings of technology, it could easily be told now.
Unfortunately, by the sounds of it, it's going to be. I'm sure I hope they're doing a remake.
Oh?
Yeah.
Please. Stop it.
Just stop. Oh, dear. Just do something new for a change. I mean,
Goodness knows my OCD will probably make me go and see it anyway.
And then you have to go and buy it.
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I can stop my OCD from going that far.
Good.
But here we go. Bit of a ramble. Sorry about that first episode. We're still working our way around this. But very much a thumbs up all round for this movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Give it a try. It stands up really well. It's also easygoing for younger viewers as well. It's not really bloody.
No.
Just bloody enough to let you know that terms are serious, but
as we've just found out from the DVD version, from the Blu-ray version, sparkly blood.
Sparkly blood, yeah. Which is only something we noticed from the quality of the Blu-ray picture. It was never visible on VHS or DVD before, but yes, indeed, it appears vampire blood is glittery, yes, it's icing on the cake for me. That's very Joel Schumacher, isn't it?
I suppose as we mentioned that, I mean, that is one thing to look out for, is the Blu-ray conversion. Does the movie justice? As we found, again, we mentioned Friday Night earlier when we watched the Blu-ray of that. They just cleaned it up too much, took all of the shadow out of it. I think we probably mentioned that when we did the movies episodes about Friday Night anyway.
Yeah, they over-brightened it.
Yes.
They over-brightened it.
This, they haven't. Or rather, they have, but only in places where it's appropriate to do so.
Yes. You get to appreciate the production value a lot more on the Blu-ray version. Anyway, I think that's probably where we should draw this to a close, I think, for the time being, with a very hearty recommendation. Please go and watch the movie. It's worth your time at least once.
And once you've seen it, then you'll definitely know why it ended up being one of the first films that we did on the show. Because, both we have history with this film for our own reasons. Because again, Kano came out when we were of the right age to appreciate it. But also, it came out at the right time. It was like a couple of years after Karate Kid. So, yeah, the synergy between them was easier to put them together.
Yeah.
We'll leave you with one final thing then, because as of when we're recording this, we're also in the middle at the moment of doing the other big vampire film that came out in 1987, which is Near Dark. So just a quick question, so who do you think would win then?
What?
If you put the Lost Boys up against Jesse and his crew?
I have no idea.
I reckon it's pretty even. These guys can fly, but they've got guns. I've confused him.
Yeah, you have. You've discombobulated me. You've discombobulated me.
That's, as you said, probably a good time to
call it quits.
Yes. I suppose we'll be back at some point with another one of these.
Yeah, hopefully not too long. In the meantime, stay safe, folks, and take care of yourselves.